4 more Saskatchewan residents who tested positive for COVID-19 have died. There are 234 new cases with 39 in the Northwest Zone. The immediate Lloydminster area has 20 new cases and 126 active cases. There are 3,702 active cases province-wide. 694 more people have recovered. More than 27,000 people have been vaccinated. 480 of those are in the Northwest Zone. As the city continues with its Economic Development Strategic Plan, Council heard the findings of its latest study. The transload feasibility study is now complete, and the city has learned that the facility is not currently feasible. Eric Bay has more.
Based on Lloydminster's location and with both CN and CP rail lines running through the city, Council wanted to explore the possibility of creating a transload facility. The report's findings have been released, and because of high costs and low estimated freight volumes, a facility will not be pursued at this time.
So it is somewhat surprising, but at the same time, land cost is going to be greater in the city than it might be elsewhere, and there may be other places within the province where there may be more demand for those products.
The study hasn't closed the door on a facility, saying it may be possible in the future. As for next steps, continuing partnerships with the city's 2 rail lines is what the study recommends.
They know we're here, and we'll continue to build on those relationships. It certainly has raised an issue that we need to take it the next step and just let them know that we have land available and see if there's a possibility, because that is, as it was indicated by the consultant, it's a relationship that exists with both parties.
Despite the setback on a transload facility, the city will explore other options as part of its Economic Development Strategic Plan.
There's other opportunities and things we can look at and try and continue to push towards. I know one thing we have talked about or thought about was trying to get a Via Rail station here in Lloydminster.
A business plan could be considered if the city sees increased industry and demand. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
In this week's Beyond the Classroom, we take a look at a student at École St. Thomas who learned a new language in less than 2 years after only knowing a few words. For most people, learning 2 languages is already difficult, but grade 5 student Hashim Shehzad decided to take on a 3rd language and learn French at the grade 3 level before he caught up to his current grade.
He was so energetic. He was so much like he'd want to do anything while sitting at home. He cannot sit on a place for a moment. So we were thinking we should give him some kind of challenge so he can take that, and he should more spend his energy on that aspect.
While other students around his age are more focused on playing video games after school, Hashim wanted to work on his homework, which helped him learn the language very quickly.
He learned 2 years of French in about 1.5 years. So yeah, and he's having started where he was at. He actually learned, most of our students start in kindergarten, so he learned the basics up to being at a grade 5 level. So he worked really hard, and when you talk to him, you would think he was here since kindergarten.
Hashim would push himself to learn using many different strategies, including watching French movies and more.
So I started off with easy words like bonjour, comment ça va, and this stuff. Then I started reading books and trying to understand. I would use Google Translate, and then I would memorize those words, and I would keep them in my mind and use them.
His parents noticed how much he wanted to get back to the grade 5 level, as he would always ask the teachers for more work.
He grabbed the booklet. That's what the teacher was asking him to complete. It might be in a month or something. He completed it on the same day, and he was back with that booklet to the teacher very next day. So he has so much energy.
Hashim is hoping that learning French will help him in his future career.
I was so interested because it's the 2nd language in Canada, and I thought it was important to learn, because if you wanted to be the president, you gotta know French and English.
And that's it for this week's Beyond the Classroom.
Beyond the Classroom is brought to you by Lakeland College, home to the most hands-on education in Canada. Apply today and graduate job ready.
A new podcast addressing serious topics has recently come out by the founder of Let's Walk the Talk, Paul LaBerge. Our Shelby Clark chatted with him for more on this new project.
I'm speaking with Paul LaBerge, founder and president of Let's Walk the Talk. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Shelby?
I'm very good. So let's start off about your newest podcast, Let's Talk the Talk. What topics are all addressed on this podcast?
I guess the main mission for this podcast is just trying to get people to open up about their story, and because we all have a story, and we all deserve to get to be heard, and it's not easy to open up, and we want to clear a path for everyone else. Our first episode, you can watch it. It's Jeff Rivet. He's a local boy here, or man, I should say, boy. You can watch it on Facebook, YouTube, and also Anchor. The main objective here, just try to get people open up and, just show them it is definitely hard to open up, but after you open up, things do get easier, but it does take a little while. And the first step is to get help. And that's what Jeff talks about in our first episode.
And when did the first episode for your podcast come out?
Last Friday. So we do have a guy who runs the camera. He does the same kind of same job with the Kirk Price show. His name is Paul Forges. So we're the Paul Squared team, we call ourselves. We have a video guy who does the editing and the filming, and unfortunately people have to see me behind the camera. We have a lot of great support right now. We have speakers lined up. Right now, we're planning on doing one speaker a month for now, just because we're so new, and we want to make sure we plan everything right and not just kind of go as we go kind of thing. We want to make sure we have a good product out there, and we also are telling people if they want to share their story but not their name. They can email me at lwtt19@gmail.com, and they can send me their story. I have one story sent to me already after Jeff's episode. So Jeff, that's why I've been telling Jeff he did a great job, because one person already wants to open up. We won't be sharing their story or their name though, but we will be sharing the story in their second episode.
And exactly how long has the process taken to get this project up and running?
Oh, for a little while now, to be honest with you. I never wanted to do a podcast. I was never interested. I'm going to be flat out honest. I wanted to stay away from it. The reason why I started doing it is because of COVID. It canceled so many of our events that we wanted to do. We wanted to do a speaking event last year around, I believe we were going to go with May, and we were going to get some big name speakers to come to Lloyd and for them to share their story. And because we can't have an audience, and that's basically how you make your money in fundraising events like that, is the audience. So that's why I went forward with a podcast. I think I've been planning this for the last 2 or 3 months. I think I knew one day I might have to do a podcast. It's been, in my mind for a year, and I was been trying to avoid that, try to do other things. It just kind of got to me. And once I got on the Kirk Price show, me and Paul started talking, and he said, look, this is what I can do for you. Do you want to team up? And here we are.
And in your opinion, why do you believe this will be so important for podcast listeners to have this new podcast?
Oh, there's so many of us. You have no idea. It will surprise you how many people are struggling inside, and they wear such a good mask. They hide it, and I've been hiding it for so long. I don't even know how long I've been. I just hid it for so long, and never really wanted to speak out, just because there's always been known as if you do, you're weak, and and you're not a tough man, and you're a weak man, and so it one of those things you just kind of hid for the longest time. And after I lost my dad to suicide, well, even before I started to open up because I saw some of the signs from my dad, because he kept it in for so long. What happens later on down the road. So to be honest with you, it scared me, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna end up with make things worse for me. And so after my dad passed away, I just wanted, I didn't want no one else to suffer what me and my family suffered. And I just think it's so important that, with this podcast, we can clear the path, showing people how, it doesn't have to be difficult. It's easy. We can make the uncomfortable comfortable by sharing your story. And when I first started, I'll be honest with you, Shelby, I never thought, I had days where I wondered why I'm even doing the walk, or why am I even doing this, but I never felt the support. But the last 2 years, especially this last year, I would begin so much support from you guys, especially the media, people around the community. And I just want people to see that. Like, if I didn't open up, I would never be where I am right now. I'm obviously there where I want to be, but I'll take where I am right now than where I was 5 years ago any day.
Well, it's really good to hear residents have been so supportive of you with your journey so far. For people watching right now, where all can they access this podcast for ones that just don't know yet?
Absolutely, yeah. So they can go to our or our Facebook page, Let's Walk the Talk. So we have it on there. Also, we have a YouTube channel, Let's Walk the Talk. You can become a subscriber, so you make sure you don't miss an episode. Also, download the app Anchor and type in Let's Walk the Talk, or Talk the Talk, sorry, and they'll find the first episode. Also, for people who are watching right now, we are having a apparel fundraiser right now. They can go to our website, and that's another place where they can go and find our podcast too, is on our website. That is www.letswalkthetalk.ca.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me today, Paul.
Yes, no, thank you, Shelly.
Now we're Jace Mackey. We'll take a look at your weather forecast.
Thanks a lot, Jasmine. As we take a look at our current conditions right now here in Lloydminster, we're sitting at -2. After a windy night last night, the winds continued today, and we've had a pretty gloomy day, pretty cloudy. Winds coming in at 36 kilometers an hour, making things feel more like -10. As we take a look at temperatures across Alberta, -3 up in Cold Lake, 0 degrees in Athabasca, Whitecourt, Edson, and Red Deer, -1 in Jasper, and 1 degrees in Rocky Mountain House. As we take a look over into Saskatchewan, 0 degrees in Prince Albert, North Battleford, and Melfort, -3 in Meadow Lake, and 1 degrees in Saskatoon. As we take a look at North Battleford, currently they're sitting at 0 degrees. Overnight tonight, they're going to be seeing some snowfall, a 36% chance of snow tonight in North Battleford, and things are going to be chilly as they move down to -17. Things will warm up tomorrow in North Battleford, warming up to -13. As we take a look at Cold Lake, overnight tonight, it's going to be overcast and -15 for the temperature overnight, and things will warm up to -8 in Cold Lake. As we take a look here in Lloydminster, snow also on the forecast tonight. There's a 30% chance of snow here in Lloydminster that could continue into the day tomorrow. Overnight tonight in Lloydminster, our temperature is -16 and it'll warm up slightly to -15. As we take a look at the school day forecast tonight, for the day tomorrow, in the morning at 8 a.m., 15 degrees, -15 degrees is the temperature. It'll continue, and to the recess, it'll warm up a little bit to -14 for lunch, and school's out, it'll be -11. That's a first look at your forecast. We'll have more news after the break.
Welcome back. As we head into the new year and the weather starts to get colder, the Canada Safety Council is hoping residents put a new focus on safe driving habits. Jace Mackey has more.
I'm joined today with Lewis Smith from Canada Safety Council. Lewis, thanks for taking some time to talk with me today.
My pleasure, Jace. Thanks for having me.
So as we head into the new year, Canada Safety Council is reminding people that winter driving requires extra caution. And the first kind of tip I saw was that people need to kind of adjust their driving habits for the winter. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty common phenomenon that we see from year over year, and especially with COVID-19 changing how a lot of us are driving and a lot of us are approaching Canadian roadways. The driving habits tend to fall a little by the wayside because when there's no snow on the roads, when there's no ice on the roads, they tend to be a little bit more forgiving. So we feel that this is an important time to bring that reminder to the forefront of Canadians' minds that with the roads being a bit more slick and a bit more treacherous, it's important to leave a bit more distance, to slow down a little bit, and just try and do what we can to mitigate the impact of the weather.
And even before people leave and head out on the road, they should kind of be preparing, looking what the weather conditions are going to be like before they leave, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going on a trip that's even a few minutes long, blowing snow, severe weather conditions, hail, they can all play a big part in the driving experience and can cause havoc on the roads. So if a trip is not essential, if it's not absolutely crucial that you head out and the weather is announcing itself to be maybe not great or, progressively getting worse, might not be a bad idea to consider delaying or even canceling the trip.
And winter tires is another thing that people talk about, and they're not too sure if they should get them, when they should get them, and what the benefits are. So can you talk just a little bit about winter tires?
Yeah, absolutely. Winter tires are one of those issues that are still contentious, and frankly, I'm not quite clear on why. All the data supports the fact that they are an invaluable tool for safety in every Canadian's toolbox, in every motorist's toolbox. They're proven to slow braking speeds by as much as 25%. They are so effective on slick surfaces, on hard packed snow, on ice. And the real advantage to them is the rubber compound with which they're made. Because as a result of the type of rubber that they use, they're able to grip more effectively and they're able to slow you more quickly. So while we can talk about the advantages and disadvantages of paying the cost for them, because obviously winter tires do cost, they're not free, of course, stands to reason. But when we're talking about this kind of issue, winter tires go a long way in the sense that you don't need them when you buy them. But when you do need them, you're sure glad you have them.
And when it comes to vehicle maintenance and other ways that people, obviously winter tires is a way to winterize your vehicle, but what are some other ways that people can winterize their vehicle to make sure that they're staying safe while on the road?
In this case, with winterizing vehicles, we're talking about anything that can keep you safe in the event of something that may go wrong. So we're talking about making sure that your battery is fully charged. We're making sure that our windshield wiper reservoirs are fully topped up. We're making sure that our windshield wipers are in proper operating condition. And in many cases, a lot of windshield wipers have specific categories for ice and for snow. So we want to make sure that we're able to keep our vision as clear as possible as well. Things like that will go a long way toward making sure that unexpected situations don't turn catastrophic.
And it's also important for people to have an emergency kit or a kit in their vehicle of some supplies in case something does happen on the road. What kind of stuff should they have in that kit?
Anything that can help keep them safe and keep them comfortable until they can be found and rescued. So in this case, we're talking about smaller things like first aid kits for sure, but also things like food that it can be preserved, that won't necessarily go bad if it's stored in your car for a long time. You can talk about having water on hand, flashlights, and any kind of visibility tool like a flare gun, for instance. Anything that can provide traction for your wheels if you get caught in a divot or in a spot where you need that little bit of extra push to get the car out of it. All those kinds of things can come back and be life-saving in cases where you are stranded out in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone reception, no ability to immediately get in contact with anyone. And even in the cases where you're not stranded in the middle of nowhere, it's always a good idea to have a fully charged cell phone available so that you can access that cell network if it's needed.
And I think we went through a few different tips for people that are driving, but is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't get to discuss yet?
I think the number one tip that I would give to any Canadian driver watching is patience is the number one thing in your toolbox. Any kind of issue that you might run into in winter driving can be mitigated with some patience, with a little bit of a slower approach, and just ensure that you're doing what you can to keep space around yourself and to keep the road safe for yourself and for fellow road users.
Well, thanks a lot, Lewis, for taking some time to talk with me. It's great to get some insight from you today.
Oh, my pleasure, Jace. Thanks very much for having me.
Late last week, the government of Saskatchewan announced $4 million of funding going towards junior hockey in the province. The SJHL and WHL teams based out of Saskatchewan will receive funds from the government. Each of the 5 WHL teams, Regina, Moose Jaw, Saskatoon, Swift Current, and Prince Albert, will receive $600,000, totaling $3 million. The SJHL will receive $1 million with the money going directly to the league. Junior hockey clubs, unlike other businesses and organizations, were not eligible for other funding. Trade and Export Development Minister Jeremy Harrison says our junior hockey teams are a critical part of the cultural fabric and local economies across the province.
And many have taken advantage of those support programs as well. There were no support programs that were directly applicable for the junior hockey leagues.
The SJHL also came out to say they're in no consideration of returning to play for at least another 4 weeks. Now our Jace Mackey will take a look at your weather forecast.
Thanks a lot, Jasmine. As we take a look at our satellite and radar map across the region right now, there is a chance of flurries tonight in Cold Lake and here in Lloydminster. 30% chance we could be seeing some flurries and some snow over the night tonight. As we take a look at temperatures across Alberta right now, -3 up in Lac La Biche and Cold Lake, -2 in Bonnyville and Marwayne, -3 in St. Paul, 0 degrees in Vegreville, Wainwright and Provost, -1 in Vermilion, and 1 degrees out in Edmonton. As we take a look over into Saskatchewan, up in Alacross, they're sitting at -8, -3 in Green Lake and Meadow Lake, -4 in Pierceland, -2 in St. Walburg and Maidstone, and here in Lloydminster. 0 degrees currently right now in North Battleford and 1 degrees in Macklin. For the day tomorrow, as we look at temperatures across Saskatchewan, up in Alacross, they're going to be seeing -12, -13 for the day tomorrow in Green Lake and Meadow Lake, -9 in Pierceland, -11 in St. Walburg and down in Macklin, -13 in North Battleford, and -12 out in Maidstone tomorrow. Here in Lloydminster tomorrow, we're going to be seeing -11. As we take a look tomorrow into Alberta, up in Lac La Biche, they're going to be seeing -8, also -8 in Cold Lake, -9 in Bonnyville, St. Paul, Vermilion, Vegreville, and Provost. Wainwright. Provost is going to be sitting at -8 tomorrow. -3 is going to be the daytime high out in Edmonton. And as we take a look at the national forecast, starting out west, in Vancouver, they're sitting at -7, -1 in Edmonton, -2 in Regina. Up north in Whitehorse, they're sitting at -9, and a chilly -18 up in Yellowknife. As we take a look across into the eastern part of the country, 1 degrees out in Winnipeg, -16 up in Iqaluit, -10 in Quebec City, -5 in Toronto, and -4 in St. John and Halifax. As we take a look tonight overnight across the region, there is snow expected tonight in Alacross, Pierceland, Paradise Hill, Unity, Provost, and Wainwright. And as we continue, as we look at some temperatures over the night tonight in Meadow Lake, they're going to be sitting at -17, -16 in Alacross, -15 in Pierceland, -15 in Bonnyville, -16 in Paradise Hill, -17 in Unity, -13 in Provost and Miriam. They're going to be sitting at -15 overnight. And overnight tonight in Wainwright, they're going to be sitting at -13. The next 7 days here in Lloydminster are going to start getting colder as we head into the weekend. Tomorrow, we're going to be seeing a high of -11 and some cloud coverage. There's a 63% chance of flurries on Friday with -10. As we head into the next few days, things are going to get colder as we see some -20s and some chances of rain or snow, over the night on Sunday. That's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news after the break.
I'm joined once again by Stephanie Dobson for part 3 in our 3-part series focusing on a number of different issues surrounding divorce. And today, Stephanie, we're talking about the collaborative divorce process. So can you start out by telling me what exactly is collaborative divorce?
Collaborative divorce is a process which focuses on the family, and it's where each party will hire a specially trained lawyer called a collaborative divorce lawyer to help them to resolve their family law and post-separation issues while being committed to staying outside of the court process.
So Stephanie, how do families know if this is for them, if this is the process that they want to go through?
So there's quite a few similarities to mediation in that, just like we mentioned last week. So you want to look to stay out of court. You're looking on focusing on the future. Your children's needs are your priority. You want to reduce conflict and you want quick and efficient resolution. But there's also some differences. So in the collaborative divorce process, you have your lawyer advocate by your side. And so there are some people who, when they're negotiating their divorce, they want to have their rights and obligations right at the forefront at the table with them while they're pursuing their negotiations. And so while you still need to be confident that you can make yourself heard at that divorce negotiation table, you do have your lawyer by your side to give you a hand.
So what professionals would be involved in collaborative divorce, Stephanie?
Definitely, there's two separating spouses plus their lawyers. That's the foundation of the collaborative process. There's also some additional team members that may be at the table who are neutral to the process, so they're not on either spouse's side, but they've also got that special training to help parties in a cooperative way as opposed to in an adversarial way. So people like financial professionals, mental health professionals who can help with the coaching of the emotions around the divorce, communication help, appraisers, valuators, accountants, those kind of people who can really help spouses stay on the same page while getting the expert information that they need in order to make good decisions for their future.
So Stephanie, with COVID being an issue and families trying to go through divorce and separation, how does that work in the collaborative divorce process?
Since March of 2020, I've been able to do seamlessly all of my collaborative divorce work and frankly my mediations using Zoom technology. There is a component that's actually of benefit by using Zoom, because when we're looking at adding extra professionals into your collaborative divorce, we may need to draw on family professionals who are outside of our local area. And so by using Zoom, we can actually bring them in without that extra mileage and extra hassle of bringing them into our local meetings. So there's lots of possibilities.
Okay, and if families want to get started on this process, Stephanie, what's the best way to do that? Do they reach out to you, or should they do research ahead of time? What's the best way to know how to get started if they want to go ahead with this?
As always, doing your research is the best first case scenario. So on our website, henkadivorce.ca, there's lots of information about collaborative divorce. The key, though, is to come in to meet with me for an initial consultation. And you can do that by calling our office or by filling out the contact form on our website. And really to make sure that I'm able to help you to figure out what that appropriate process is for you. So whether it's collaborative divorce, mediation, there are some situations where divorce court might be more appropriate for you. So I'm always doing that analysis to make sure that I'm matching the family with the appropriate dispute resolution process. And the key, though, with collaborative divorce is both spouses have to agree to that process. And so your spouse also going to a collaboratively trained divorce lawyer is also key.
All right, well, Stephanie, once again, we appreciate your advice and your thoughts. As we mentioned, you are a lawyer and a mediator, so you kind of can help with all these different areas. So once again, can you just give your website if people are interested in getting this information?
Absolutely. It's henkadivorce.ca, so HENKA divorce.ca.
All right, well, once again, thank you so much, Stephanie, and we'll be back to chat again next week.
Thank you.
I'm joined by Brian Engstad, Telemiracle 45 chair, to learn more about the online 50/50 raffle that Telemiracle has launched. Thank you for taking the time today, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
So to start, do you mind explaining what Telemiracle is and the purpose of the organization?
Yes, Telemiracle, we're in our 45th year. It's a fundraiser that started back in 1977. It's to raise funds for the people of Saskatchewan in terms of medical equipment and even travel and accommodations for people that are seeking medical treatment or any type of medical emergency for people here in the province.
Perfect. And when will Telemiracle be taking place this year?
Telemiracle this year will be on February 27th, starting at 9 p.m. and we'll go for 20 hours ending on the Sunday, the 28th at 5 p.m.
So on top of the telethon, the Kinsman Foundation is now adding the 50/50 raffle. Can you talk a little bit about it and why you decided to add it this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last spring, as we all know, the world changed. So us at Telemiracle, we decided that we needed to adapt and try to think outside the box of some ways to raise some money with everything COVID related. The economy's down, and we just wanted to make sure that we raised enough money for the people of Saskatchewan to fund all the applications. So we put our heads together and we decided to come out with the first ever 50/50 for Telemiracle. So it's something we're really excited about, and we hope it's a good success this year and something that we can launch from here and every year after this. So.
And you did just touch on it, but as you mentioned, financially, both fundraising has been a struggle for a lot of organizations, as well as people who typically donate may be a little more money conscious than usual. So are you hoping that having both the raffle and the telethon will kind of address that issue and kind of give them two different ways to donate there?
We hope so. But one thing that surprises me with the people of this province is people will rally behind the cause and come together especially for Telemiracle. So we are fortunate that way. And this is just another way to bring in some revenue for the show. So we have those dollars to fund those applications.
And is there a minimum you're hoping to raise both with the telethon and with the raffle?
You know, that's one thing we actually never do. We never set a goal because every dollar that we do raise, we appreciate it. So anything we do this year is going to be a plus, and we just really look forward to seeing that total get higher and higher on Telemiracle weekend.
Awesome. So in addition to the raffle, will Telemiracle look any different this year due to COVID-19?
Yes, it will. One thing that we had to do this year, and one thing that we're excited to see is this year's show is kind of a hybrid show. So it's not a full live show. It's going to be a lot of pre-recorded, a lot of virtual aspects to it. So all your SAS talent and all your national casts are pre-recording. They're actually pre-recording this week as we speak. So that will all be pre-recorded. And we're also, with it being the 45th year anniversary year, we're going to do a lot of throwback to previous years and big moments in the past with the 45 years of Telemiracle. So yes, it's going to look a lot different, but I'm not going to give you all the information because people are going to have to tune in to see, because we have some surprises and it's going to be exciting.
Awesome. And when will the 50/50 draw take place?
The 50/50 draw will take place on, the deadline for tickets is February 26th. And then we are going to announce the winner on February 27th, right before the show, on our Countdown to Telemiracle show, which will be broadcast on telemiracle.com.
Awesome. A bit off topic, but every year the Telemiracle has a unique teddy bear. Do you have any information on when that is going to be revealed?
You're going to have to stay tuned. It's the sneak peeks are going to happen next week. I'm a little biased, of course, but the bear this year looks pretty cool.
Okay. And is there anything you'd like to add on the topic while we have you?
Just for the people, just to support, you can go to telemiracle5050.ca to buy your 50/50 tickets. Or if you do want to donate, you can go straight to telemiracle.com and you don't have to wait for the show itself. You can donate today.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate you speaking with us today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right, as we take a quick look at our 7-day forecast, -11 is the high tomorrow, partly sunny, partly cloudy. There's a 63% chance of snow on Friday and a high of -10. -20 is the high on Saturday as things cool down. There's a 61% chance of snow on Sunday with a high of -18. -18 is also the high on Monday, and -17 is the high on Tuesday, and -16 is the high on Wednesday. So things are starting to get cool as we go into the next week.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great night.